Kolkata and many other districts across West Bengal got a pretty big jolt this past Friday afternoon, February 27, 2026. A magnitude 5.5 earthquake hit, with its epicenter over in southwestern Bangladesh. The National Center for Seismology, or NCS, reported the quake struck around 1:22 p.m. local time, about 10 kilometers deep. And let me tell you, it really sent a wave of alarm through the area. A lot of people quickly rushed out of their homes and schools, just to be safe. Now, even though this latest quake didn't cause any immediate major damage or injuries in Kolkata, it definitely highlights just how vulnerable this whole region is to earthquakes. People distinctly felt the ground shaking for a good 10 seconds, which led to some pretty panicky scenes as everyone scrambled for open spaces. Disaster management authorities were quick to respond, confirming the earthquake and urging folks to stay calm, even as the widespread tremors were still being felt. Alright, so when the news first broke, there were a few different numbers floating around about how strong this earthquake was and exactly where it hit. The U.S. Geological Survey, or USGS, for example, clocked it in at a magnitude 5.3, saying its epicenter was about 26 kilometers southeast of Taki, in West Bengal. But then again, the National Center for Seismology had a slightly different take, reporting a 5.5 magnitude quake with its epicenter actually in Bangladesh, and that's what a lot of other news agencies were running with. Honestly, these kinds of early discrepancies are pretty common as seismic agencies fine-tune their data and get all the details sorted out. But whatever the exact initial numbers, the impact was seriously felt across Kolkata. Residents there were describing everything from swaying ceiling fans and trembling furniture to rattling windows. And it was even more noticeable in multi-story buildings, where that shaking sensation often gets amplified. We also got reports coming in from neighboring districts, showing just how widespread these tremors really were. The whole event really created a palpable sense of unease, and it prompted a lot of people to share their experiences, many of them feeling an earthquake for the very first time. So, Kolkata sits right in the Bengal Basin, which is a pretty active earthquake zone. That's because of the Indian and Eurasian plates constantly crashing into each other. Now, the city itself is located near what we call seismic zones 3 and IV. Plus, it's built on this soft, alluvial soil, and both of those things really ramp up its vulnerability. Experts tell us that this soft, alluvial soil can actually make ground shaking much worse. So, even a moderate earthquake can feel a lot stronger and cause way more damage. This whole region is also to several active fault lines and moving deformation zones, like the Himalayas and the Indo-Burmese mountain ranges. These areas are basically hotspots for big quakes. Historically, the Bengal Basin has been hit by a ton of devastating earthquakes. We're talking some of them registering well over magnitude 7 or even 8.1, which really shows you the long-term risk of living here. Big quakes from the past, like the 1897 Shillong earthquake and the 1885 Bengal earthquake, caused massive soil liquefaction and a lot of damage, even right there in Kolkata. Right after the latest earthquake hit, we saw government staff, including those at Nabana and the Assembly House, quickly emptying out their buildings and heading for the open streets. They were understandably worried about potential aftershocks. And it wasn't just government offices. We saw similar scenes play out over in Salt Lake's IT hub, and even in lots of those tall apartment buildings. Thankfully, no big aftershocks have been reported right away. But that initial jolt, which lasted for about 10 seconds, definitely left a strong impression on everyone who felt it. Even Union Minister Sukanta Majumdar was caught off guard, seen pausing mid-speech at a public event right when the tremors hit. It just goes to show how sudden and disruptive this whole thing was. But those quick evacuations really highlight how much more aware and prepared both people and institutions are these days when it comes to earthquakes. It seems like recent and past experiences have really driven this change. So, with earthquakes shaking things up pretty regularly around the India-Bangladesh border and the wider Bengal Basin, it really screams at us how crucial it is to have solid urban planning and make sure buildings are actually built to withstand them, especially in big cities like Kolkata and other vulnerable areas. It's not just about where the city is located geologically that makes it prone to quakes. It's also got a super dense population and a lot of older buildings, which makes things even riskier. Officials are, of course, constantly keeping an eye on the ground activity there and putting out advisories for residents, always stressing the importance of being prepared and knowing your safety protocols. That big quake on February 27, 2026, was yet another stark reminder of just how dynamic those tectonic forces are here in the Indian subcontinent. And that's exactly why continuous research into the seismotectonics, basically, how the ground acts and moves, of the Bengal Basin is so vital. It's giving us crucial insights, helping us really get a handle on and hopefully lessen the risks from these natural events, especially since the ground motion can get seriously boosted because of the basin's specific geological characteristics.